world can it be? I know it has to be here. I know we had to keep a copy of it. It couldn't possibly have disappeared. It has to be in this library somewhere. Oh, hi. I didn't see you come in. What am I doing? Well, you see, Calvary's celebrating our 125th anniversary in the year 2015, the next year. And somewhere in this library, there's a skit that was written by one of our church members for our 100th anniversary years ago. And I really thought it would be nice to pull it out and use it for our upcoming anniversary. And I just can't seem to find it. It has to be here on the shelf somewhere. It must have gotten misplaced. What did you say? Maybe I should look on the couch. Okay. Oh, for heaven's sake. Here it is. Somebody else must have been looking for it, too. Let's see. Formation of Calvary Evangelical Lutheran Church, Scene 1. Mr. Newport's General Store, late 1880s. What I would not give to be able to step back in time and just see it for real, to imagine what it was really like, to see our church's history from the very beginning. By the year 1889, Newport Hill, the area we now know as part of Flag Marsh Road, was a busy place. This flurry of activity was due largely to Mr. C.C. Newport of Baltimore, who had built a lumber yard, a general store, a flour mill, and numerous houses in the area. Our first scene takes place in the general store, next to the railroad tracks at the foot of Newport Hill. We listen in on a conversation between Mr. Newport and two of the community's most prominent citizens, Mr. Samuel F. Hess and Mr. Hezekiah D. Hawk.
Morning, Samuel. Morning, Hezekiah.
Morning, Mr. Newport.
I'm really glad you gentlemen came in this morning. I've had something on my mind that I've wanted to talk to you about.
Well, what's on your mind, Mr. Newport?
Well, you see, this is a growing area, and I think we might need somebody to meet our spiritual needs.
That's a fine idea, Mr. Newport.
Indeed it is. I was talking to Rebecca just the other day how wonderful it would be to have services nearby.
Well, and I've given it considerable thought. I'd be willing to let the people of our area use my lumber shed to conduct Sunday service.
Yes, it's quite a drive to New Windsor, particularly in wintertime.
Do you know anybody that might be available?
Well, there's a Reverend McGlynn from Union Bridge, and he might be able to conduct services twice monthly.
Do you think you could write to him?
I think that would be a good idea if you're both in favor of it.
Yes, absolutely, please.
Okay. I'll keep you gentlemen informed.
All right, that'll be great.
Agreed, sir.
This is a happy day for me. Let's go, Hezekiah. I can't wait to tell Rebecca the wonderful news.
Okay, goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, Mr. Newport. Thank you.
Now, let's look in on the ladies' sewing circle at the home of Rebecca Hess the following day. This was a favorite pastime for the women in those days. It kept the husband's socks darned, the blouses embroidered, and the news circulating.
Have you heard the news, ladies?
What news is that, Rebecca?
Well, Samuel told me that he was talking to Mr. Newport, and he's going to let us use the lumber shed for our church services.
Oh, wow! That's amazing. What wonderful news.
Hezekiah told me that he and Samuel discussed it with Mr. Newport as well.
That makes me so happy that we won't have to drive all the way over there for worship anymore.
Oh, I am certainly glad to hear that. It seems like every few weeks, either the horse loses a shoe, the wagon loses a wheel, or we end up getting stuck in the mud.
Poor Charles. Well, you know, just 2 weeks ago, my poor Harvey had to pull him out of the ditch.
Oh, Charles was so embarrassed.
Mama, when can we start having services in Mr. Newport's lumber shed?
Oh, in a few weeks, Nettie Mae, as soon as we find a pastor that's available.
Oh, goody. Mama, may I wear my new bonnet?
Well, I don't see why not, Marianne.
Thank you, Mama.
I hope we get a preacher who can keep us awake.
Oh, Blanche, you do say the funniest things.
Shame on you, children. Mind your manners.
Sorry, ma'am.
On, girls.
Well, ladies, you know it is getting late. I think I hear the men outside now.
Oh, we better go then. Oh, Charles and that horse both get skittish when we have to wait.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you, Rebecca. It was lovely.
It was my pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
In February of 1889, after receiving the invitation from Mr. Newport, the Reverend M.E. McClin began preaching every 2 weeks in the lumber house across from the general store.
All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Amen.
The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace.
Amen.
Amen.
For having such a fine attendance at our church services, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could erect our own church building?
Samuel, do you really think we could do that?
That sounds like a fun idea to me.
Why don't we have a special community meeting to discuss that?
Yeah, by all means. We'll call a meeting for next week.
And so, a meeting was held to discuss the possibility of erecting a church building somewhere nearby. It was well attended, and an enthusiastic group listened as Samuel Hess presented his idea.
My friends, our church services here have been so well attended that some of us think that it's time that we should build our own house of worship.
Excellent idea, Samuel.
Yes, indeed.
But where can we build it?
We've talked to Mr. Newport about this, and he has graciously offered us his knoll above this store.
Oh, how kind of him.
How very generous. Thank you, Mr. Newport.
Nothing. Not at all. I couldn't think of a better use for the land.
I think we should accept Mr. Newport's kind offer and begin work on the church as soon as possible.
Yeah. All right.
Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I hereby move that we begin building a new church as soon as possible.
And I second that motion.
By all means. You have heard the motion that we begin erecting a new church as soon as possible. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Since there is no opposition, the motion is carried.
I would like to nominate a building committee led by Mr. Hess, Mr. Newport, and Hezekiah Hawk to lead the project.
All right.
Do I hear any other nominations?
I move that we accept those nominations.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that your committee will do its best to get this work off the ground. I trust we can count on all you able-bodied men to help with the work.
Yes, of course. Oh, wait. I don't know how able my body is, but I'll be there whenever you need me.
Oh, Charles Pond, you do say the darndest things.
There, Annie, I was just joshing.
I'm willing to help too.
You can count on me.
Don't forget me. Look at these muscles.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now, if there's no further discussion, I suggest that we go home and prepare for this great undertaking.
So be it.
Amen.
On November 11th, 1889, ground was broken, and the men went forward with the task of digging the trenches, hauling stone, and laying the groundwork for the building. On December 29, 1889, the cornerstone was laid. The Lutheran Church ceremony was used, and the Reverends A.S. Hartman and C.C. Lepley preached at the morning and evening services. Attendance was heavy, and the people gave $100 toward the new sanctuary, a very auspicious beginning. Meetings and services continued to be held in the lumber house while construction was in progress. A Sabbath school was organized with Samuel Hess as superintendent. A class was formed for the proper instruction of those wishing to join the church. And then came the glorious day, January the 14th, 1890, when the first congregation was formed, consisting of 17 charter members. Let's look in as we witness the founding of Calvary Lutheran Church.
On earth is not his equal. Amen.
And now it is my pleasure to welcome the charter members of our newly organized Lutheran congregation. As I call your name, will you please rise and be recognized? You may be seated. Members of certificate, J. Harvey Falble, Lizzie Falble, Hezekiah Hawk, Alberta Hawk, Ismaiah Hawk, Samuel F. Hess, Rebecca Hess, Nettie Mae Hess, and Mary Ann Hess. Members joined by profession, Mary E. Aldridge, Ida A. Evans, Ruth Franklin, Charles P. Pond, Annie Pond, William A. Wolfe. Members by confirmation, Lizzie Caldwell, Blanche Wolfe. May the Lord bless your decision to form this congregation, and may you carry out his work throughout the rest of your lives, passing the torch on so that this church may grow and prosper from generation to generation, ever praising the glory of God. Amen. Amen. And now let us join in that stirring hymn, Onward, Christian Soldiers.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching